This is Marilyn, and on my channel we talk about healing from sexual abuse. This is Honey, my Great Pyrenees and Collie. She's our farm dog, and she keeps all the wild animals off of our farm. We've got all sorts of wild pigs and mountain lions. Everything wants to come and eat our chickens, so Honey keeps them away. We live in Texas. It's about 90 degrees today, and it's not even 11 o'clock. So let's start. Like I said on my first video, I was sexually abused as a child, and my dad was a pedophile, and my mom had a mental illness called paranoid schizophrenia. And it was a horrible childhood, but I didn't have any memories until I was 40 years old. But I had all these different after effects. I carried around this whole baggage of garbage: depression, fear, anxiety, eating disorders, you name it, panic attacks, nightmares, so many. I had 70 out of 100 different after effects of sexual abuse, but I didn't know why. And so when I was a little girl, I thought about, someday I want to go to a doctor. A doctor is going to help me. That's what I had in my mind. But everything that was wrong with me, I kept it a secret because I didn't trust anybody. When you live in a home like mine, there's no trust. You don't trust the people around you. And so in my 20s, I found a doctor, and I went to him. I told him my little story. He stopped me right away and he said, "Oh, you've got nerves. Very common problem." And he gave me pills. I went home, took one, passed out on the floor, and I woke later to my baby crying. And I heard a voice that said, "Drugs are not your answer." I don't know why I didn't pursue that voice, but I got up, I threw the pills away, and I didn't see another doctor for 7 years. The next doctor, it was a psychologist and a psychiatrist that I saw. And the psychiatrist said, there's nothing that we can do for your problems except to give you drugs. And he went back in his storeroom and had a whole handful of Xanax. And he just laid them in my lap along with a whole bunch of prescriptions. And he said, "This is what's going to help you. And come back in a month and I'll see you again." Well, he didn't tell me that I was going to be addicted. That Xanax, you're only supposed to be on it for a couple months. And I was on it for 3 years. I didn't want to go anywhere without my Xanax. And all the other medications, they just totally numbed me, which was good in a way because I wasn't feeling all the pain, but it wasn't doing anything to help solve the problem. So I think I saw 7 doctors in all, and it was the 6th doctor that I saw. She listened to my story, and she said, "You sound like a woman that was sexually abused as a child." And I looked at her in shock, and I said, "I don't remember anything." And she says, "Oh my." And she says, "I think I opened up a Pandora's box, and we only have one more session." So that was my first hint at what was wrong. And I was almost 40 years old. All the memories of the abuse I had pushed out of my mind. And what I believe is that God kept them away from me because I wasn't strong enough to deal with any of the things that happened to me. So the next doctor was the best doctor, Dr. John Nash. And I told him what this woman had said, and he says, okay. And I said, can you hypnotize me? Show me what happened. And he said, no, that's not a safe thing to do. He said, when you're strong enough, when you're ready, you will remember. And so I was in his agoraphobia group for a year with other women. And then the second year, well, I quit the group after a year, and I started having memories. And I called up Dr. Nash and I said, the memories are coming. And he says, okay, now we'll do one-on-one. And we did that. That was such a difficult year because I was dealing a lot with my inner child and everything that she had gone through in this whole ordeal, and she had kept it silent. But now I needed to address her and talk to her and comfort her and cry with her as the memories came. I wanted her to just speak to me, all the things she saw, encountered, all her fears, her worries, her phobias. That was a tough year. That was a real tough year. But it was a great year because I was solving the mystery of what had happened to me. And that's what needed to be done. Honey, you gonna sit up? Huh? So you're more in the picture? So I guess my point is, I always had my eyes on the doctors. The doctors were going to heal me. They were going to fix me. They were going to give me a cure. They were going to do it all. They were my everything. And that wasn't right. So let's step back a little bit. I went to church every Sunday from when I was born until I was 18. And I had all these issues. And I would think, God, why aren't you fixing it? Why am I suffering so much? Why am I in such agony? And I never heard answers. I went to church, but I didn't really have a relationship with God. I knew of him, but I didn't know him personally. And so when I was 18, I said, I'm not going to church anymore. I really don't want anything to do with you, God. And I turned my back on him. And those are all the years that I went to doctors. Well, after the last doctor, Dr. Nash, I would say I was about 50% healed. I still had the nightly nightmares that were horrendous, in which every night something chased me. Many times it was a big black bear that would chase me through the swamp, and it was hard to run, and up the tree, and he would grab onto me, and he would kill me, and he would eat me. Night after night, from when I was a little girl. Or I was in my house, and intruders would come in through the door or in through the windows, and they would kill me. And it was just awful, awful nightmares. So after Dr. Nash, I still had problems, but I was better. And I started turning to God. I had met a pastor, and I started to ask God to heal me through miracles. I wanted to know God personally. I wanted to seek him the way I had been seeking doctors. I wanted to read his word like I had been reading self-help books. And wow, what a difference. He immediately answered me. He provided miracles that were so awesome. I knew that it was him. And the miracles were steady, but the healing was slow. It wasn't like I accepted Jesus and everything went away. It didn't. And I went into the Bible and I read different quotes that talked about how tough life is in the world, and all of the tribulations that we're going to go through. And I realized that that's what I was dealing with. Life wasn't going to be easy. It was going to be very challenging, but I needed to keep my eyes on God and push through. So if you're saying that you're not a Christian, you don't like God, I can totally relate to that. Because from when I was 18 to 40, that was me. He had failed me. But then when I turned around and changed my thinking, God became so real. And God talks to you. He tells you things. He guides you. He shows you the way. And the troubles that you think are impossible to deal with, He walks with you. And the problems are solved. So if you're going through any of the after effects of sexual abuse, and in my books on Amazon and Audible, this list of 100 are in there. And it was life-changing when I read that list. I was about 65 years old when I read that list. And it was like it described me perfectly. And all of these after effects went back to the abuse. And it all made sense. And I understood when the after effects occurred at all the different times in my life. The eating disorder, that came in the 10th grade. The suicidal thoughts, they came in the 7th grade. And it was all these different things that I believe Satan was using to destroy me. All these things were like pushing me towards a cliff and saying, jump, jump. But I never jumped. I hung on because I knew there was a solution to the mystery of what was wrong with me. So, if you can relate, I hope you leave a comment. Please be kind. I'm sharing my heart. And in a few days, I'll do another video. And you and I can just work on this together. Thank you. Bye-bye.